Hey, welcome back to the Chef Builds, and as you can see I am in a car, not my own. I am off to pick a motorcycle, but it's not a beauty by any means. It's in quite a state if you look at the pictures, but it's for free, so the only thing I have to pay is the license, and I got it for free. So I'm going to use it for parts or see if I can get it running. And this thing's been sitting outside under a cloth for 9 years, so that's why it's in such a state. The person just, well, she couldn't get rid of it for some reason, probably because the tank's like really gross. Today's video, I'm going to be picking up that bike and I'll have a look and see what we can do with it. Now, the fact that you're watching this right now means that I've done something. I don't know what at this point, but we'll see. So if you like the video, you know what to do. Please subscribe, and let's have a look at this bike.
So much later that the old narrator got tired of waiting and they had to hire a new one.
Well, I think as you can see, I am back in the shed, and that's what I picked up. A very crusty Honda GL500, as you can see. It's in pretty rough shape, but anyway, the lady I picked it up from, very friendly, and yeah, it's been sitting on her front of her house for a long time. But let's dive into this and see what it's like. So before I start working on this bike, I need to get it off the trailer, but one thing I'm going to do is spray as many parts as I can that I think I'm going to need to take loose and let that soak. So I'm going to put some penetrating oil on things like on the brake bolts, here in the back, on parts of the carb, here at the front, as much as I can, just to get it soaking while I'll try and get this thing off the trailer. The only thing I haven't done, which was a bit stupid, is to get this to a car wash straight away, because I don't have a power washer, but we'll manage. So first thing, spray some lubricant everywhere so everything gets a bit loosened up, and then we'll take it off the trailer. So the first thing I want to do is check these plugs and have a look inside the cylinder. This bike was sold to me by a very friendly lady in The Hague, and well, sold to me, given to me. All right, so that's white, so that's been, I think, a bit lean, as you can see. Okay, let's put that here. So we can check. The one on the other side is basically the same, as you can see. So it's kind of white in the middle over there. So looks like it's a bit lean. We'll put this back. Next, let's get these covers off on both sides, and maybe the seat, and have a look inside the tank. Cover's still pretty good. There's a bit of damage, but it seems to be intact. So if you own one of these bikes or you've just bought one, this is where the main fuse is, and that's this little piece of metal, like that silver thingy you see over here. When that breaks, there is no connection again between the battery and starter and stuff, and the bike just won't start. So, but you always need to have a spare one, and usually, this one here, look, in the cap over here is usually a spare one, so that's good to have with you. And otherwise you could use like a piece of string to put in between there for a emergency situation, but it's good to know that this spare is there. Okay, so this is the other side. This panel is also pretty good shape. I don't know this GL500 custom bike. I've done it, and this is pretty nice actually. I think this is where you could keep your spare tools and stuff. I have to look in the book. Not really sure. And there's a solenoid or a relay here or something. And this looks like it's green, so it's probably a ground for something. Okay. Behind here is the air filter. Same as on the CX, of course. And I can already see that these are really cracked, so we'll need to replace those. So that's the sides taken off. Now let's get a crack at removing the seat. And I'm not really sure, but I think I need to remove the bolt here and one on the other side. And then you can probably take this out, like pull it up and get it back. So let's have a go. The back of the seat is really crusty. It's pretty bad. It's completely gone. So are the sides. This has seen a lot better days. I think this is a goner, I think. This is what we found here. More rust. Oh, that's good news. That's really good news. These are TI MC5194 TEA ignitions. That's good news. There's all this rust here. I better get the Hoover first and have a look at the air filter. Nice. Oh, that's not too bad. It's kind of moldy, but it's a few spiders. It's a big spider there. That's not too bad, really. That looks pretty clean. So the inside of that air filter is actually pretty good. When I opened this up on the GL1100, that was really bad, but that's pretty clean. There's a bit of sand there, but that looks decent. Okay, next up is the tank. The outside is pretty crusty. Doesn't smell too bad. There's fuel in there. And there's some rust, but that is not too bad. Let's see if I can get you guys. So there's little dots here on the top, but Don't know if you guys can see it, but I can see fuel down there. That's not too bad, really. I think a bit of vinegar will do wonders with this, with some stuff in it, the way I usually do. That will clean it out really good. And I've found a way to stop the acidity of the vinegar. I believe you have to put in baking soda. So use the vinegar and with screws and stuff to get all the rust off. But then usually the vinegar keeps going, the acidity. And I believe if you dunk in a lot of baking soda with water, that kind of stops that process. And then you have to just dry out the tank, of course. And I have found that using WD-40 for that, to kind of layer the inside of the tank at that point to kind of keep fly rust away, of how do you say that, the quick appearing rust works really good. So, but the outside of the tank, well, that's a different story. There's a lot of rust here. How to do that? So this is clearly rust, and this is all dirt over here, this stuff, and there's a nasty spot over here that's been welded. I can see that, and it's not leaking, so that's a good thing. And there's a filter here as well with the carb, so that's good news. I'll undo that screw, and I'll have to undo this over here, and then we can take the tank off, I think, and see what's underneath. But there is a fuel filter there, so maybe the carb is pretty protected. So that's good news. So temporary battery is in. See if we've got some lights. There we do. There is oil. There is no light. There is light at the back. There's a horn somewhere. Got the blinker on the right, that's working over there. This one's working also. Let's see if neutral works. Yeah, neutral works. Guess I could crank it and see what it does. Nothing. Oh, there we go. Do we have spark? Let's put you down for a minute. I need to put it on the frame somewhere. Yeah, got spark on this side. So spark on one side. Check the other one. Now, I hope you guys can see that. Probably not on this camera. I'll get a different camera that will work better. It's hard. This is the Insta360 Ace Pro I'm working on. And focusing on a something that's really close never works. It always focuses on something in the back. So just get my iPhone and that works very good. that's cool. So we got spark. The carb is over there. We'll get that working. That will be fine. Just needs a lot of cleaning. So all I need to know if we've got some sort of compression, which I think we do. And I need to check if we've got oil in this thing. And then we could have a fire up. I'm not going to do that now because it's like midnight. I need to clean the carb first. We remove that and then we can turn the engine. So that cap that was there is off now. This is a 17mm socket. And now you can turn the engine. Well, you can't tell it, but the engine is free because I can turn this. That's all I need to know. So I think all ingredients are here to have a good running engine. There is another thing that's really good. It's this reservoir over here. That's full. So I just want to check how much coolant is here to see if there's coolant in there, which is really important because if it's drained, it could be a leak, of course. There's no sign of it, but you never know. So we'll have a look at that. And I don't know if this thing has a grease. Yeah, there's a grease point here as well for the drive shaft. I will do that later. We can open this up as well. I think it's a 17 as well. Yeah. And we can rinse it out. So you drain it from here. I've done a video on this. I'll put a link right over there. And you can see how you can surface that. So things are looking good. We got spark. We're going to get fuel. We've got compression, I think. At least the engine's free. There is some sort of power. Starter goes. It's going to run.
It's gonna blow!
Alright, so the cap is off. The cap looks really good. And even better, as you can see, wiggle the bike a bit. That is nicely topped up. So that is really good news. It's the only thing I need to check now. If there's any oil in the bike. And, oh, that's done by this dipstick. We'll take that out. And then a lot of things are looking really, really good. Now there's probably lots of O-rings and stuff that's going to be leaking everywhere. Maybe over here, or I don't know. Maybe the water pump doesn't work anymore. We'll find out soon enough. But spark, radiator cooling, all is going to be checked in a minute, but I think it's be fine. Carbies, yeah. Things are looking pretty good. Even though this is really, really crusty as you've been seeing during this video, but yeah, got it for free, man. So, all for the win this. The main thing I need to get going is this carb, and that's in pretty bad shape. The thingies here won't go up and down. I've forgotten their name. They should, so that's really caked up. Fast forward, the trailer is back where it's supposed to be. Still love that thing. If you want to see a video on how I made this thing, up here in the corner there will be a link to that video. Really love that. The thing has paid itself back tenfold. So really cool with that. If you're wondering how long it took me to dismantle the trailer and putting it back on the place, Takes me about 20 to 30 minutes, kind of depends, but usually in 20 minutes it's up there. So that's quicker than when I rent a trailer, drive over there, get it all sorted and come back, because that will take me at least 40 to 50 minutes. So this is quicker.
One eternity later.
So I've been working on the carb on the bike. I took it apart. As you can see, it was really dirty, and the inside was just the same. Most of these things that came out like this, really grimy and rusty, and I shouldn't do face spray already. Oh, you can see it's really gross, and like this stuff, you can't see that, but anyway, the carb now is looking mighty fine. I've stripped it, cleaned it. I've done it in my ultrasonic cleaner. I've blasted it out, cleaned it out. There was a bit of reaction to the stuff I was using in the ultrasonic cleaner, so I ended up blasting this thing in my little sand cabinet, and well, they came out looking really nice. And now we've got to put everything back together. Now I've got a lot of spare parts. I've got some carbs laying around here as well, so I think I could manage to get some good stuff. I've got these really nice keister parts, bits and bobs. So let's see if we can get a carb back together from all these little parts. So these are the old vacuum ports, and they're really cracked, as you can see, both of them. But I still have these laying around from that CX500. I've got replacements on the way, and to help with the assembly, I put them in some hot water, and they were really hard first, and now they're nice and flexible again. So that's a good trick to get those softened up again. Or you can use a heat gun, of course, but this works also. So here's the bike, and it looks better on film than it does in real life. It's in really poor condition, but I've got a plan.
I have a plan.
But the first thing I want to do is get that engine running. So I'm going to put in the battery, put on those, put on the carb, hook up some fuel, and then see what it does.
20 minutes later.
So everything is, I think, ready. I've got the carb on. Now there is a small leak, but I think that's a stock float, so I think that should be good. I've got the spark. I already checked that. I haven't changed plugs. There is oil in here. There is radiator fluid fully. I've put my battery in there, which is charged. We have power to the bike. It's on run. I think that's it, and I know there's compression, so let's just see what happens. I'll put you guys down. Maybe put you over here. Okay, here goes. Alright, so it runs. So how cool is that? On the first go, it worked. So pretty chuffed with that. There is absolutely no leak on the carb. The carb looks pretty good. It's a bit rusty, I think, still, so it didn't sound perfect, but maybe the spark plugs need changing. I haven't done the valves or anything, but it runs, it doesn't leak. It looks terrible, but this is a running engine. Everything works, so that makes it a lot more valuable than €0. And then we'll see what we'll do with that. So after a lot of shaking and roasting for a good 2 days, I think, this is what the water looks like. So that's quite rusty and smelly. So that's vinegar, water, fuel, rust. I'm gonna get it out, and I think you should use this stuff to neutralize the working of the vinegar. So it'll kind of stop the acidity, I think. So this with water, and then really rinse it out a couple of times, and then I'm just going to spray with WD-40. That usually seems to work. First get this gunk out and all the nails I put in there. Done a lot of rinsing and all the nails are out, and now we've got this. So that you can still see where the rust was. Anyway, I'll take it. So this looks a lot better after all the rinsing. So I'm going to end the video here. The bike is now at a point that it's ready to strip down even further, and that's going to be the next episode. I'm really going to push forward with this, and I hope to see you in the next one. So thank you very much for watching this video. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and see you in the next one. All right, cheers.